Hello, and welcome to the SMEFocus show powered by MTDCNC. I'm Mark Weymouth from the Sensor Specialist Plus Automation. I'm your host this week to highlight an aspect of UK manufacturing and particularly to look at things from the perspective of SMEs. My guest today is Chris Barlow, a partner with MHA based in Birmingham. MHA, a provider of audit, tax, consulting and advisory services, and Chris heads up their work with manufacturing and engineering clients. Hi Chris, welcome to SMEFocus.
Hi Mark, thank you for asking me on.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming on. Hi, Chris. I guess I'll ask the question that many will ask, in that you're, I guess, unusual that you're an accountant who's very interested in manufacturing and engineering. So can you tell us a little bit about where that interest came from?
Yes, I suppose I grew up in Birmingham. I've spent the vast majority of my life in Birmingham, apart from a few years away at university in Lancaster. And I've been surrounded by these manufacturing and engineering businesses. When I first went into accountancy, I saw a number of such businesses and I was intrigued by the way that they solve problems. I help my clients solve problems. I enjoy it. It's the best part of my job. But the manufacturers and engineers take it to another level, whether they're making something cheaper, less polluting, more efficient. And that just continues to interest me to this day. Am I unusual? I don't know, really. I'm not alone, but I'm one of few accountants, certainly, who continue to represent and advise the sector. So long may that continue, hopefully.
Indeed. So MHA, it's a brand or a name that we see on reports and see sort of mentioned, but can you tell us a little bit more about MHA and explain what the business does?
Yes, MHA, fundamentally, we're a firm of accountants, tax advisors, business advisors. We're the UK part of Baker Tilly International. Baker Tilly International are one of the top 10 international networks of accountants, tax advisors, business advisors. They employ around 43,000 staff across the world in about 140 odd countries. MHA, as I say, is the UK part of that. We employ around 2,000 staff in about 23 offices across the UK. I'm based in Birmingham, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So we work with SMEs all the way through to listed clients. We do what we term, on the one hand, compliance, so that sets of accounts, tax returns. On the other hand, we help our clients by advising them, whether that be in terms of corporate finance, so helping to buy a business or sell their business at the end of the day, by advising them in terms of customs and duty, which is something that we do a lot of with our manufacturing clients, or perhaps our banking and finance arm or our wealth management arm. So different strands of the business, being able to give our clients advice as and when they need it. And then I head up the work that we do with our manufacturing and engineering clients, which on the one hand is that compliance and advisory, and on the other are the reports that you mentioned. We've done a number of reports and surveys over the years. We've commented on the sector for many years. Those reports are going to government, and we've helped to represent the views of the sector into government, which I think is a vitally important thing. And helps take the sector forward.
Are you able to give a proportion or feel for the proportion of MHA's business that is related to manufacturing? Or is there some metric, whether it's turnover or size of your team, or some sort of feel for the importance of manufacturing to the business?
Manufacturing is one of our largest sectors across the firm and continues to grow. It's certainly one of the top 5 sectors that we deal with in terms of number of clients and the number of people involved in that sector.
Okay, that's good to hear. We've touched on the report, so maybe I'm hoping you're well placed to tell me from the reporting side of things, but also all the conversations you have with clients. What are the trends? What are the conversation topics that you're seeing within manufacturing at the moment? I'm sure the budget's playing a big part of that, but what are you seeing post-budget and maybe beyond the budget?
Yes, the budget, definitely. I mean, it's unusual in some regards that so much is leaked to the press, shall we say, ahead of budgets, that the national insurance, I think, came as a bit of a surprise on the back of that. I think you've got the rises to minimum wage, and not that everyone is paid by minimum wage by any means, but you increase minimum wage and it works its way up through the different levels of an organisation. And then you've got the national insurance impact, the double whammy, I suppose, there in terms of the lowering of the threshold at which national insurance is paid and the increase of the rate. So it's a big impact for businesses, and I think it's taken some thinking about as to how that can be addressed. It's not just a case of being able to pass it on or being able to reduce costs here and there. It's a complicated mix of that. So lots of conversations around that. A number of conversations around tariffs, I suppose, particularly with our new president in the United States, what that means, particularly for my clients who deal with America. Perhaps the news of his positive meeting with Keir Starmer may calm a few nerves there, but I don't know really. And then skills, perennial conversation in manufacturing, but particularly going on from there to investments. There's various tax reliefs, capital allowances, R&D that can help with investment, but is it the right time to do that? So looking at those conversations with our clients. And you started with the budget and perhaps finished with the budget as well. There's opportunities that came out of that. The change in the rate of business asset disposal relief, the former entrepreneurs relief, creates some opportunities there, and we're having conversations and moving towards capitalizing on those opportunities with certain clients. So a number of conversations across a whole different remit there.
Okay, that's interesting. A particular aspect of the audience of this show we're trying to address is SMEs. So I'm guessing an SME perspective would also be thinking about inheritance tax and implications on family-owned businesses. Is that a particularly common topic that is coming up, or is it a topic of complaint, or is it a topic of planning?
All three, I think. It depends on where the business is, but it's certainly an opportunity for planning. Opportunities are there, but it's a case of having that conversation, understanding from our point of view what you're trying to achieve as a business, and helping you achieve that over a period of time.
Okay. From a financial perspective, do you have an opinion, or I guess I was going to ask, do you have an opinion on the industrial strategy? And I guess with it being pushed back till June, then one of the hopes is that it happens, but what more generally are your hopes for an industrial strategy and what it should contain?
I suppose firstly, it's absolutely vital. It's disappointing to see it pushed back again. Will it happen? I think it will. But it's absolutely vital to create that long-term ability to plan for businesses. The tax roadmap has gone some way in that direction, but to enable investment into businesses, not only from existing business owners, but from investment overseas. I've heard government ministers before talk about they have conversations with people who are looking to invest in the UK. And one of the things that comes back almost immediately is, yes, but we don't know what that landscape will look like in a year's time, in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time. We need to be able to have an apolitical industrial strategy that helps businesses go forward and plan to the best of their knowledge and encourage investment as part of that. So I absolutely hope that it happens, and the sooner the better, really.
Okay. If you could influence a group of politicians of whatever flavour, what would you say to
them? Manufacturing matters. Manufacturing is, I looked at some stats, 17.5% of GDP in the UK, 2.6 million workers directly employed by manufacturing, let alone all the parts that come out of that. Manufacturing matters, and give us a bit of help. We're doing pretty well as a sector, but how much better could we do if you gave us a bit of help? We need a voice in government, whether that's a minister or whatever it happens to be, a voice for SMEs, a voice for manufacturing. Give us some help. Give us a chance.
Yeah, that's the perfect segue into Andrew Wilson's campaign for a champion for manufacturing, as it's now been called. So an apolitical but consistent gateway or concentration point for manufacturing within politics. I mean,
absolutely.
I was interested to hear your figures about GDP, and I can never quite understand why there's so much variation and uncertainty on what the worth of manufacturing is to the UK, what the GDP is, or how many people it employs. It seems remarkably vague and open to different interpretations, but all substantial figures.
Yes, we I suppose, as an accountant, we love to play with figures and come up with all sorts of things as part of that. But ultimately, as you say, it's a significant part of the UK. It's a significant part of tax revenues. It's a significant part of employment. So whatever those numbers are, it's a significant factor.
Yeah. Okay. So so similar question to the last one, but maybe if you were to ask some questions or try and influence the financial markets. So if you could influence the City of London, what would you say about UK manufacturing? What would you ask them?
I think, again, I would repeat some of what I've just said, that manufacturing matters. And the more consistency and the more ability to plan that we have as a sector, the stronger we will be. So looking at where interest rates are going, and there's this difficult balance between interest rates at the moment and inflation with the various factors that are playing there. But the more long term we can be, the better planning we can have, and the better UK PLC can be itself.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So the show also wraps up with the same sort of question. We've talked about what we'd want, but maybe looking at the year ahead, what do you particularly want? What does business want? What are your plans for 2025, and what are your hopes?
We continue to work with and advise manufacturing businesses. We are extending the scope of our reports, the reports that I alluded to earlier, and excited about where that will go later this year, and looking forward to taking that forward. Apart from that, as I say, continuing to work with what is a really exciting sector, and continuing to be amazed by the work that continues to go on there. I go back, I suppose, to my father-in-law, my late father-in-law now, who used to tell me a story about some of the work that he did many years ago, working for a business not too far from where I'm sitting, where they had a problem with a, should we say, a cream egg machine that was throwing the cream eggs, and the work that he went through to take that apart and to rebuild it and take it forward and make it work is exactly what embodies manufacturing, and why I continue to be interested in the sector.
Fantastic. Well, I think that was an excellent wrap up to the show. But before you go, I will need to ask you, how do people reach out to find you, and how would they go about? We've talked about the reports. Where would people find the reports? Maybe tell us a little bit about what they contain, and then how do people contact you as well?
Yes, I can be contacted via MHA. You'll find me on the firm's website, and that's also where you'll find the reports themselves. They cover what we call taking a pulse of UK manufacturing, so the views of manufacturers rather at that particular point, what it was that was on their mind, and what their hopes were in terms of investment or in terms of future development, and some of the challenges that they were facing. So those previous reports are on the website, and that's www.mha.co.uk, and you will find my details there as well.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for that. So thanks so much for coming on, Chris. I have to wrap up with the usual words and say to anybody, if you'd like to get in touch with the show with a comment, a suggestion, or particularly if you'd like to appear in a future episode, please contact us by email at inquiries@mtd.c. I Let's start that again. Please email us at inquiries@mtdcnc.com or contact myself, Stuart Whitehead, or Joe Reynolds. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. From me, Mark Weymouth, Plus Automation. Cheers. Bye.